Call to order. My name is Bianca Perez, Secretary of the Board of Elections for the calendar year 2015 and the Bronx Democratic Commission. These are the hearings on challenges to opportunity to ballot, as well as designating petitions for state and local offices, as well as party positions to be contested in the September 10, 2015 primary election. We have a number of challenges, and we ask the cooperation and understanding of all present. This will enable us to move matters along in an orderly fashion. I now would ask that each commissioner and staff member present identify him or herself for the record. Starting from my left.
Michael Rendino, Bronx County Republican Commission.
Frederick Humane, Manhattan Republican.
Alan Sugar, Manhattan Democrat.
John Plateau, Kings County, a Democrat.
Lieutenant Democrat.
Dawn Santel, Deputy Executive Director.
Pamela Perkins of East Bay Connecticut, Registered Minus Operations Manager.
Troy Johnson, CRU.
Matt Graves, candidate Riggage Unit.
Michael Neglia, candidate Record Unit.
She doesn't say.
Is that everyone?
Anthony Andrew, Deputy Chief Clerk, Staten Island.
Kenneth Malton, Council and Commissioner. Stephen Dankberg, Council to Committee.
Lisa Sadik, Staten Island.
Okay, I want to remind everyone appearing before the commissioners that this hearing must fill out a notice of appearance form, which is available at the front counter. Each person must present the completed form for each specification or matter to our staff as they come up to the podium to speak. I want to remind all commissioners, board staff, attorneys, and members of the public that only one person should speak at any time so that the audio and video systems can accurately record the proceedings. Also, please speak directly into the microphone so that all present can hear the proceedings. I would ask that all present place their cell phones on vibrate or silent ring or turn them off during the course of these proceedings. I want to advise all present that this board is required by state law to record how each commissioner votes on each matter. In the event that we are not unanimous in our vote on a given matter, I will ask that our council conduct a roll call vote of commissioners for the record. I now call on our general counsel to call the calendar for today's hearing.
So call this, wherever you want.
Could I just ask, I know the Staten Island Commissioner, which is what we're working on right now, he's on his way down, so we can just give him 5 minutes.
We're just waiting for Commissioner Castorina.
Yes, I read the plan today. Just public presentation.
Castorina, if you could, Commissioner Westella.
Ron Castorina, Richmond County Republican.
Marie Guastella, Richmond Democrat.
Okay, we'll begin with the CRU Prime Facie Report. This is for the Delegate Judicial Convention. Marilyn Miller and Felipe Pedraza, the candidates for Kings County, Republican. Over-designated party call lists one delegate. Each cover sheet lists separate contact persons, Jean Bordelli and James McClelland. 2 candidates submitted on 2 separate petitions. Each petition lists Craig Eaton as the first person of COV. Appearances, please.
Is this it? This, if I may, Commissioner Shamoon and I were just talking about this, and he's here, he's just not down yet. So this seems to me that it shouldn't be on the CRU prima facie list. The issue here is that there are the same committee to fill vacancies on both petitions. But it's my understanding that the cover sheet, and that's why a cover sheet is very important, only claims certain volumes for the candidate. So the mere fact that there's the same committee to fill vacancies, if the candidate doesn't claim it on the cover sheet, it shouldn't be the other petition shouldn't be considered part of this petition. And it would seem that both candidates ought to be able to run because their cover sheets only claim the petition volume that they intended it to claim with their signatures on it. So I'm not familiar with any cases that actually have come up with this, but it seems to me that the candidate, by claiming only the one petition volume, that should sort of carry the day over the committee to fill vacancies, which is something that you don't need to have in the regular course of business, but if you do, it shouldn't necessarily knock somebody off the ballot. And this is not a case where on the same petition volume, they had over-designated the number of candidates. So I would move that this come off the prima facie report.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstention.
I oppose.
Abstention.
All right, so we have to do a roll call. A vote, you have a sheet there. Was that? No. All right, can you write it down? I'll call. Well, I'll do it, okay. All right. So on the CRU prima facie report, on the motion to take it off the report, Commissioner Rendino,
Yes.
Commissioner Shamoon,
Yes.
Commissioner Humane,
Aye.
Yes.
Commissioner Castorina,
Yes, in support of the motion.
Commissioner Perez,
No, I oppose the motion.
Commissioner Bustelo,
Yes.
Commissioner Shulkin,
Yes.
Commissioner Flateau,
Abstention.
Commissioner Raja,
Yes.
by a vote of 7 in the affirmative, 1 against, and 1 abstention, the motion carries. So it is, go ahead. So it is taken off the prima facie report. Candidates are on the ballot. Turning to the specifications for opportunities to ballot, Richmond County, spec number 13, Conservative Party, Office for District Attorney. The objector, George S. Wanaka. I'm sorry? We have both. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Yeah, they're from the calendar, yeah, I'm sorry, that, take that back. I apologize. Specifications numbers RH4-1 and RH14. Independent Party, Richmond County. Objections by Thomas Conti to the petition of Michael McMahon. Signatures submitted 724, total invalid 113, total valid 611, signatures required 456. Referred to the board. There's a subscribing witness claim 7 signatures, only 6 on the page, and there are claims of forgery as well. Appearances, please, and do you have notices of appearances? Appearances, please.
Marion Conde of Conde and Glazer, 291 Broadway, 17th floor, New York, New York, 10007. I'm here on behalf of the candidate, Jonah Luzzi Orban.
You should be on that side and then you can notice.
No, you're
This
here
is-
the objector. You're here for the
The
objector,
objector.
Conti, on the
Thomas
other hand.
Conte
Okay,
is the
gotcha.
objector, yes.
Okay.
Then I'm here for the county. Martin E. Connors, 61 Fairmont Street,
Please
Brooklyn,
hand up
New
your
York.
note. Please hand up your note.
Sure.
May I be heard? This is interesting. These specifications were originally filed, and the proof of service was attached to the first page of the specifications, and the commissioners, in their wisdom, dismissed the specifications because the proof of service was not proper. The objectors then filed the same specifications thereafter, claiming it was a cure specification. Now, originally, because of a one-page gap, which does not, according to the appellate division, invalidate any signatures, council staff issued an NCN, the committee approved it, and we filed a cure. And I believe it's the theory of the objectors that by filing a cure, we now reopen the whole objection process. 3 days for general, 6 days for specifications, and while they didn't bring a court case, a new court case, I suppose they would contend they had 14 days to bring a court case. It's my contention that it was never the intent of the legislation for a cure of a document that was filed within the original filing period, the cure to reopen the whole objection thing. I would make an exception. If all they were arguing about was the cure, they said the cure was ineffective, the board was wrong in accepting it, I would agree they could file objections to that and go after that. But here they refiled the whole line by line for the petition that was already filed by the last day to file. And so it's my contention, frankly, that these objections and specifications are late to the extent that they challenge anything other than the cure itself.
From the objection, please.
Yes, we're essentially here arguing about a staple. On the original cover sheet, the mailing was stapled to the cover sheet, that is correct, and it is a technical defect which we believe the board has the power and authority to make a decision on, as they did when the board advised us that a cure was available and that we could correct a pagination error that was within the petition. We corrected it and refiled the cover sheet with the certificate of mailing correctly the second time. So we believe it was a technical defect and that you have control over deciding whether or not a technical defect is in fact a fatal defect.
May I say you ruled on it?
What's the rule on a cure starting the clock over again?
Yes, Commissioners, both your rules do it, and I believe it was the federal court case, I'm trying to remember the one, about the judge in Manhattan, where she claimed that she didn't want to claim the petition that was filed, but even though it was filed, it started the clock again. But our own rule says it's the 3 days, the general objection period is 3 days from the last day, any part of the petition or the cover sheet that's filed or anything in response to the MCN notice.
Okay, well, at this
And,
point.
excuse me, does that then extend the time for court cases? Are we doing that?
No.
It's set in statute?
No, it's the question of when you can file objections with the board.
When were the objections filed and when was the NCN sent out?
Oh, it was late, I'm sure. Most of them were this
I'm
year.
asking counsel.
NCN, please.
I don't have it with me.
I can tell you this, the NCN was sent out well after the 2-day period, as were many this year, because we stick to the rules when we do this, right? It was late.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
2
Mr.
days.
Connor. I'm going to make a motion that we adopt the clerk's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All
All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain because I don't have the information I need to vote.
All right, so we'll do a roll call. Okay, on, we have an extension, we need open meeting.
I don't see it. Do you have the date of the MCN? Go upstairs and get it. Just take it. I literally won't get the court. We can go get it. Especially if you want, we can get it. You want the second call this?
Well, second call, and just to get the information we need to cast a vote. Council.
Motion still stays, it's tabled.
We table the motion.
The 21st, it was the 21st, we have a copy.
Oh, you have a copy?
In his
In his
telephone.
phone, there's not a copy in front of us.
So the NCN notice went out on the 21st?
Yeah, that was a little late.
I'm trying to remember what the NCN was.
It was a one-page gap, which
A page
I
number.
pointed out to council staff repeatedly over the years, does not
It went from-
invalidate a single
It
signature
went from
or
being
volume.
100 pages to 99 pages. The
Commissioner,
candidate is not prejudiced by
Again,
that.
as we process the petitions as they come in and go through the various reviews, that's when the page number defect comes in, because we do not count every page that comes in. The process is, as usually, it's usually in the course of ordering the photocopies, when the team that's doing it goes through it and says, we're sending out 100 pages, they count up, and in this case, they found 99. They identified the defect, reported to us, and that week, and then we brought it to the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Commissioners' Cover Sheet Review Committee to issue the notice. The 21st was a Tuesday, that was a meeting after the board meeting. Notice went out, and which would give them until that Friday to file the queue.
Right. And in Morgan against Farrell in 1985, the first department, in a 67-page gap, said it did not invalidate the rest of the volume, the signatures either before or after it did not invalidate the volume.
Cure was
Why does the board
75.
keep putting people at jeopardy when clear law says that's not a fatal defect?
The cure
But
was
it is a
time.
defect, and the statute does say that the petitions have to be consecutively numbered.
Right, and Morgan against Farrell said consecutively doesn't mean all the gaps have to be filled in.
Mr. Conlon,
That's
since-
what it was
but
about.
since
It's
then-
the same statute then. It was stricter in 1985 than it
Since
is
then,
now.
the third and fourth departments, and the fourth department, an opinion authored then by PJ and now Judge of the Court of Appeals, Piggott, found it to be a curable defect that the board should give notice to correct the defect.
And the Buffalo Board of Elections ought to follow the fourth department, but the Board of Elections in the city of New York ought to follow the first department where
Except
you
which
sit.
department are you in here? You're in
The
the
first.
second. You're here in the first, but
This is
Staten
the
Island
second.
last time was
The
the second.
board
Yeah.
should follow the first department
Okay,
ruling.
all right, first, all right.
It's the second
All right,
department.
so do we need to, since we now have the timing?
No, the second department didn't say, it. The fourth department in Buffalo, or no, Rochester said. it.
Since we now have the information in terms of the timing of this, can we get it off second call and just make a decision?
We're just reviewing the time.
Doesn't extend the court.
And your judgment from the rule, this is the.
The candidate's still on, but we're following our own rules.
Exactly. I'm going to move to, the motion was still on the table. We tabled it. We move for a vote on that motion. And we adopt the clerk's report. Seconded by
All in
Commissioner
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the clerk's report is adopted. I'm sorry.
Are there any oppositions? No? Any abstentions? No opposition, no abstention.
So the clerk's report is adopted and the candidate is on the ballot. Now, for the objection of Mr. Melvin. Spec RH 13, Conservative Party, Richmond County. Objections by George S. Wanaka and Megan Delmar to the petition of Conservative Opportunity to Ballot for the position of District Attorney, Richmond County. Member signatures submitted for candidate 365, total invalid 59. Total valid 306, number of signatures required 211. Referred to the board, SW-NK, this is their own, which means subscribing witness or notarial official did not know or obtain proof of each and every signatory. And they list pages 1 through 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 22 through 27, 29, 31, 35, 38, 39, 40, 43, 45. It appears that this may be a subspecies of fraud, but that's for you to decide. But that's what's referred to for. Appearances, please.
Martin E. Connor for the objectors.
Marion Conde for the candidate. Oh, I didn't fill one out for this one, sorry.
We need a notice for all the objections.
I'm gonna do it after.
You can give it to us later, yes.
We're in court, so
Do you have any
go ahead and do the clerk's
exceptions
report as far as
to
I'm concerned.
That's right, I agree.
So move the clerk's report.
Second.
this? All in favor? Aye. No objections? Any abstentions? Close report sent.
Okay, clerk's report is adopted, candidates on the ballot. I believe that concludes. Yeah, we did this already. Those are the 3 items for today. So that concludes the hearing on the opportunity to ballot and designating petition matters for the September 10, 2015 primary election.
Thank the Richmond County Borough staff for their work on these steps, for their hard work and the teams that came down here today. Thank you.